Hey everybody, good morning. Sharon Brubaker here, owner of the Grief School. Today I want to be talking about grief and Valentine's Day. Um, Oddly enough, it's not the first holiday that throws us off in the beginning of the year. We barely made it through Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving. We were knocked out through those holidays as a griever, and then we come in to the beginning of the year, and then we get hit with Valentine's Day. It's crazy how that happens. Like you're for a lot of us, we were expecting it, but that's also not what I'm gonna sidetrack a little bit, even though I have some notes that I'm supposed to be following. Somebody said it yesterday, and I had every intention of bringing it up, and but it is Super Bowl Sunday, especially here in the United States. Super Bowl Sunday is a holiday for most Americans, right? Even if you're not a football fan like me, even if you didn't know which teams were playing yesterday, like me, honestly, didn't know. Um, no offense to the teams, but wasn't planning it. I just didn't know what the who the teams were. Heard more about the halftime show than anything. But here's the deal, friends. Super Bowl Sunday is treated like a holiday. We get together. We go to one another's homes. We bring food. It's a celebration, whether you're into it or not, whether you get into the betting on which team is going to win or not. You're there as a celebration. And for most of us, we did that as a couple. We did it as a family. We did it as a family together. And when we're not able to do this with our person, it brings up that feeling that everybody's doing something that we're not in. Everyone is doing something that we're not a part of. The energy from the little bit of excitement that's going on, even going in the grocery store, is crazy. Everybody's looking for that perfect dip. They want everybody talking about their dip. That energy can affect the griever. It affects the griever, especially if you lost your spouse and they were a football person, especially if you lost your spouse and they were a Super Bowl person. My heart to yours, to each and every one of you that struggled yesterday, that struggled through yesterday. Some of you did even go to Super Bowl parties. Some of you even went to Super Bowl parties and were anxious the whole time. Some of you forced yourself to go. Some of you didn't go to the parties at all. You just stayed home. Wherever you were yesterday and however your grief showed up for you, I see you, friends. My heart to yours. And so we come through, it typically starts at about Halloween. The energy from the holidays starts at about Halloween, goes through Thanksgiving. We go through New Year's, Christmas Eve, Christmas, New Year's, and then it seems like we get a break. And we get just about a month of a breather. And then we have Super Bowl and Valentine's Day. And that's what I want to talk about today. So for everyone that struggled yesterday, I see you. And a lot of what I talk about when planning a holidays and a special day will apply to that as well for any future days, for sure. All right, friends, let's get into it. Let's get into the subject at hand. Where are my notes here? So Saturday is February 14th is Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is coming, and for the grievers, this day is not neutral. For most grievers, it's not neutral. For most grievers, it's loud, and it's relative. It relates to you. It relates to you. And for a lot of us, it's memory heavy. We have past holiday Valentine's Day that we've thought about. We attach to this. We think about it. If you're already feeling the tightness because the Valentine's is starting to come, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're normal. You're a griever. And I want to tell you this lecture is not about getting through the day by pretending. I was never going to give you different forms of pretending, but I want to talk about this. Here you are, griever. And here's your person. Your person can be your partner, your friend, your child, your parent. Your person can be any of those. Just because it's Valentine's Day doesn't mean that they have to be your partner or your spouse. It doesn't have to be that. It can be any of one of those, and that Valentine's Day can be bringing this energy up. Valentine's Day is about love, right? It is not uncommon for us to bring a Valentine gift or a Valentine card or give a piece of candy to the other person or think of them on Valentine's Day. Your spouse, we give them a card. We go out to dinner. Every restaurant is booked right now. Maybe it was tradition that you guys did the same restaurant. Maybe you guys laid in bed on Sunday and had coffee. You did a Valentine tradition. Your partner, same thing. Maybe you did those kinds of things. Maybe you hung out. Maybe you did celebrate big. Maybe you didn't celebrate at all. Tony and I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. It's not a big holiday for us. It's not a big holiday for us. Maybe your child did Valentine's cards, took them to the classroom, and that's a memory that you have. Maybe your parent always made sure you had something for Valentine's Day. So I want you to know that even though we're talking about Valentine's Day, which typically means love for couples, it doesn't always mean that to the griever. It doesn't always mean that to the griever. The griever can grab on to anything that has a memory and their heart can hang on it. So if you're already starting to feel this tightness, there's nothing wrong with you. We need to understand why this hurts and how protecting your heart, how to protect your heart, right? With intention, how to protect your heart to get through the holiday with intention. Valentine's Day hurts just like any other holiday. You're going to feel it just like any other holiday. There is a reminder, and the reminders come to you of the person that you loved, the person that you're missing, who you can no longer choose to be your Valentine, who should still be here. They should still be here. Grief doesn't understand Valentine. It doesn't go out and buy a card. It's not searching for a card. It doesn't understand the calendar. It doesn't read a calendar. Your body does not track time the way your brain does. We start seeing Valentine's cards. Dude, Christmas wasn't even over and the Valentine was up. And let me tell you something. This Valentine will not be down by Saturday before you're seeing Easter. They have a way of going after you. Here's what your nervous system knows. Your entire nervous system knows this. It knows that your heart is broken, and it knows that these nerves are feeling everything associated with your person. It knows that something in your life mattered. That's what the nervous system knows. Something in my life mattered, and that something is gone, and my heart is changed forever. That's what it knows. And that's why sometimes this day hits so much harder. That's why it hits so much harder, because it knows that something is gone. I want you to ask yourself right now, what does Valentine's Day represent to you? What does it mean to you? What does Valentine's Day mean to you? To me, I have some fond memories of Valentine's Day. I almost feel, this is the truth, I almost feel like, because Tony and I don't celebrate it, I don't put a lot of energy on it right now as I stand here today. But as a griever, it would be a big deal. As a griever, it would be a big deal. I'd be longing for him. Even if I didn't celebrate it, I'd be longing for him. Who or what does this day remind you of? Who or what does this day remind you of? Your grief responds. Your grief responds to meaning. Your grief responds to meaning, not dates on a calendar. It responds to the meaning that you put in the day. The meaning that you put in the day. Who or what does this day remind you of? What memories are surfacing to the without your permission? Why is this date so important for you? Because grief responds to meaning, not dates. What the person meant to you. Tony and I don't celebrate Valentine's Day, but absolutely, beyond a reasonable doubt, I would long for him if he was not here. Let's talk about what makes the day even worse. Let's talk about what makes the day even worse. I want you to know that I see you, and I know that the pain of Valentine's Day is real. But suffering comes from what we add to the top of it. You're in pain, you're grieving, but we add something to the top of this Valentine's Day, and it causes the suffering. Friends, I want you to hear this, and I want you to hear it clearly. There's stuff that we add on top of our grief that cause more grief than it should. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. My little grief monster over there. You have a broken heart. You have a broken heart. It is Valentine's Day. Your brain knows that it's Valentine's Day. Your heart is absolutely broken. But the suffering comes from what we add on top of the day. We add expectation. We add pressure. Friends, this is all coming from your brain. We avoid. And we compare. We start comparing other people's relationship at Valentine's Day. We start to put the pressure on because our person's not here and I have no one to celebrate it with. We have this expectation that the day is coming and what am I going to do with this day? This is where suffering comes from. You've already got your grief. But we add this extra on top of it. You start thinking you should be better by now. You should be over this. You start seeing other people celebrating and you're like, oh my gosh, we would be celebrating right now. All of that may be true, but you get stuck in that thought of what kind of celebrating you would be doing. You feel forced to participate in something because everyone is driving you crazy. And then you try not to think about it. And you push it way, way down. You avoid it and you push it way, way down. And I'm here to tell you the avoidance, it never works. It just delays the pain. But your body starts to keep score. Your brain starts to keep score of what is going on around you for Valentine's Day. Listen, I need you to understand that sometimes we can make it worse because the day has a name. Because the day has a name. Valentine's Day. But what we need to know is, what is your heart saying? What meaning is your heart putting on this? That's the grief. This other stuff is coming from the brain. I should be over this by now. Oh, look at them. Look at the cards in the store. Look at what everyone's doing. I don't like chocolate. I don't even want any chocolate. What are you telling yourself that you can handle right now? What are you telling yourself that you should be able to handle right now? What part of this grief for Valentine's Day are you comparing to what other people are doing? What other grievers are doing? What other lovers are doing? Do you have a plan to avoid the day? How's that working for you so far? How's that working for you so far? When we avoid, we create more pain than the day itself. We create more pain than the day itself. Friends, I want you to have a plan, and I want you to have a backup plan. When your grief days are unplanned, your nervous system is going to take over. I want to add a little Valentine story in here that I'm going to sidetrack here. When I was a little girl, it's a really cool story for me now. When I was a little girl, my dad worked next door to See's Candy. And every year for Valentine's, he would bring us a little heart. You know, they were about that size. And there was 5 of us. And he would bring my mother a big heart of candy. My dad was a gift giver. That was his love language, was giving gifts. That was his love language, was giving gifts. And he would bring every year. My mother would get a big, and we would get a little one. And we were so excited on Valentine's Day because of that. And the best Valentine's Day I ever had was the year my dad forgot that it was Valentine's Day and didn't go next door to See's Candy. And he went next door. He was on his way home. Some kind of way, he must have heard it on the radio, remembered, found out it was Valentine's Day, realized he didn't have a chance to go and get the See's Candy. And he stopped at the local store and he bought 5 Hershey bars. And it was the best Valentine's ever. It was just, to me, it just meant so much love. My heart is filled with love every time I think about that story. And every time I see a Hershey bar, my mind falls on that. It was planning. He came up with his plan B. He didn't have the See's Candy. He forgot. So he came up with a plan B. And here's my question to you. When grief days are unplanned, your nervous system takes over. And when your nervous system takes over, it wants to shut down. When you don't have a plan for your grieving heart, when you don't have a plan for the day, and your heart is absolutely broken, and it seems like it's busting out of the seams, and you don't have a plan for the day that's coming up, it starts to you start to shut down. It starts shutting down. You pull back. You start to numb out. You start snapping at people. And you break down later when it's safe. When it's safe, you break down. Or you break down all day long in front of everyone. When grief days are unplanned, your nervous system takes over. And when your nervous system takes over, it only knows how to do these things. Why does this happen? Because you start judging your grief. You start self-judging. You start thinking, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why am I still like this? What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. You're still like this because you haven't gone through the full grieving process. I thought I'd be doing better by now. You start questioning your grief. There is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You walked into a grief trigger and you were unprotected and ill prepared. You walked in, it's Valentine's Day. Maybe you've been feeling it all along every time you've been seeing the cards and the red hearts or the color red. I don't know what it is for you. I don't know what's causing the struggle right now, but I want you to know I see you. Truly, my heart to yours, friend. Let me ask you this. What usually happens on the hard grief days? What happens for you on the hard grief days? How does your body normally react to feeling overwhelmed? Do you judge yourself before or after the breakdown? What do you think would have helped you to get past these moments of grief? What would help you to push past the moments of grief? Having a plan, going into the day unplanned, always cost us more. They always cost us more. Unplanned grief days always cost us more pain. Let's talk about what a grief plan really is. First of all, the first part of your grief plan, I don't care who you are or where you are, needs to be an acknowledgement. I'm a griever. And this grief is coming whether I like it or not. I'm grieving. And let me tell you what a grief plan is not. A grief plan is not pretending that you're okay. You cannot just sit here and I give you motivational quotes and you pretend that you're okay. Sorry, friends, that ain't going to work. A grief plan is not pretending that you're okay, and it's not forcing joy, not acting like it's okay. Some of you might have done that yesterday at Super Bowl. A grief plan is not having a toxic positivity. A grief plan gives your nervous system some way to feel safe. A grief plan is calming down the nervous system and the brain. A grief plan gives your nervous system somewhere to feel safe so that the grief can feel safe, so that it knows what it's doing. It knows where it's going. It knows what's happening. The nervous system does not like to know where to go. And you got to answer 3 questions. What am I allowed to feel right now? What am I allowed to feel on Saturday? What am I allowed to feel about Saturday? Number 2, what am I not required to do? What am I not required to do about Valentine's Day and about Saturday? Number 3, how do I care for my heart on purpose? What am I allowed to feel? What am I not required to do? And how do I care for my heart on purpose? I want to add something in here. And because I didn't really touch on it in the beginning, but if your grief is for your friend, girlfriend, a work colleague, a friend that you never had a love relationship with, you could still have grief this Saturday, because the air of the Valentine's Day and the excitement of the Valentine's Day, anything like that can bring grief on for you. Pain does not disappear with a plan. Pain does not disappear with a plan. The panic does. We're going after the panic, the uneasiness. We are trying to calm down the nervous system so that it feels safe. A grief plan, doesn't remove the pain. It removes the panic. It removes the panic of the trigger. It removes the overwhelm. It removes the thinking. Okay, I want to talk about really quickly how to build a safe Valentine's plan. You guys, this coffee is so good. Simple structure. It's a simple structure. Very simple. Let's talk about it. You're going to have boundaries. You're going to have boundaries for yourself and for others. You're going to allow some grief time. And you're going to do some grief care. What you don't want to do is send yourself into full-on grief storm. You don't want to send yourself into a full-on grief storm over this holiday. Hey, Miss Mary. You don't want to send yourself into a full-on grief storm. Boundaries for you and for others. If you cannot go to the restaurant that you guys always went to, whenever it was Valentine's Day, you always went to Ruth Chris. Your boundaries are you ain't going nowhere near Ruth Chris. If your mom invites you over for Valentine's tea and your heart can't take it, you're not going to go to the Valentine's tea. Thank you. I don't think I can attend this year. Period. You're going to have some grief time that you know between 10 and 2 on Saturday. You're going to be sitting quiet. And during that grief time, you're going to make sure you're taking grief care. The entire weekend, you're going to be taking grief care of yourself. Not forever. Just for the day. Just for the week. Just for the week after. Hear me out. If you grab on tight and hold on to this thing, if you grab on tight and you hold on to this thing and you don't do anything about it, I guarantee you, you will break down the next week. So don't try to white knuckle it. The boundaries are to protect your energy. The grief time gives your pain somewhere to go. It knows that between 10 and 2, you're going to be sitting down with this really amazing cup of coffee. Quietly. You might even be crying. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. Grief care, when you commit to the grief care, the brain knows it. And when the brain knows she's committing to the grief care, the nervous system comes along. Here's what you're not going to do. You're not going to indulge in an entire box of chocolate. You're not going to overdo it because you're going in with a simple plan for yourself. These 3 things must be part of your plan. What do you need to say no to this weekend? What do you need to say no to? Here's the biggest question. What do you need to give yourself permission to feel? You're allowed to feel the grief. You're allowed to feel the pain. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to miss them. For some of you, this is the first Valentine's without them. For some of you, it's the 5th. And the 5th can show up worse than the 1st. Take it serious, my friends. Grief demands intention, or it will demand control, and it will take control of you, and it will do as it sees fit. It will throw you into a grief storm. Let's talk about why this might be hard to do alone. Most grievers struggle right here at this point because they don't understand their grief. They think they should be further enough along and that time should have fixed this. I should feel stronger by now. I know how to do this. What's wrong with me? Grief is not a mindset issue. It is not how your mind is set up to do this. Grief is not a mindset issue. It is a full body response. Understanding your grief will change everything in how you set up your plan. Once you have the structure, it's going to change how you're going to survive this weekend. Truly understanding how your grief works and how you are handling the grief is going to tell me how you're going to survive this weekend. All right, my friends, we are 6 days out. If Valentine's Day already feels heavy, I want you to listen close. If Valentine's Day is already feeling heavy, I want you to listen especially close. You don't need to push harder. You don't need to fake that you're strong. You don't need to disappear and go away from the day. You need clarity. You need clarity on what has happened, how it is happening. You need to understand how the grief is showing up in your body. One of the ways that I can help you do that is something called a grief assessment. If you go to the link in my bio, you can find the grief assessment. There I talk about how grief shows up in your body, how you hold grief, what patterns are keeping you stuck. We want to look at what kind of grief you're having. What do you do next? I share all different types of grief tips with you inside of the grief assessment. What would change for you if you truly understand grief? If you truly understand how to process grief instead of fighting it? What if you stopped guessing how to do this? Friends, I want you to know this. I want you to hear me. You do not need to survive Valentine's Day blindly. I know this hurts. It hurts because your person mattered. It hurts because your person was taken from you. It hurts because love matters. And it doesn't mean you're failing. It means you understand that you're grieving, that this will not be your last grieving experience, that this one hurts like hell. It means you understand you're going to have a plan. Your plan is to protect your heart and make your nervous system feel safe. You're going to take it 1 minute at a time, 1 day at a time. You're going to take the right steps towards understanding this grief. Healing is intentional, and it is possible. Absolutely, it is possible. Okay, I came up with about 10 tips, simple tips, that will help you for the day. Look, coming up with a plan, these are some of the things that I think should be on the plan. So I want to talk about that. Name the day out loud. Name the day out loud. Say that it's Valentine's Day. Say what is happening to you. This day is hard. When you say it out loud, it lowers the pressure. When you admit it, instead of pushing back against it, it helps. It's simple. Just name the day. Valentine's Day is going to be pretty hard for me. The day is going to be hard. Out loud, to yourself or to one other living soul. What are you skipping? Ooh. What are you skipping? What are you skipping on Saturday? You don't owe anyone to participate. Cancel early, Be very clear about it. No, sorry, I won't be coming to the church Valentine's celebration. You're protecting your energy. You're not doing that thing. It's okay. It's okay to skip it this year. You need a grief window. Pick a time to sit in your pain. It could be 20 minutes. It could be 2 hours. Plan what you're going to do. Are you going to sit in your griever's corner? Are you going to play music? Are you going to sit in silence? Are you going to write? Are you going to cry? You're giving your grief somewhere to go, and your nervous system understands it. Do something physical. Go for a walk. Go for a drive, right? Go for a drive. Walk. Go lift weights. Stretch. Take a shower. Do some yoga. Grief lives in the body. Movement helps it to move. Eat something simple. Drink some water. Eat something healthy. Some soup, piece of toast, a piece of fruit. Low efforts still count. Low efforts still count. Here, number 6 is so important. No social media. Stay off of social media. It only causes comparison. Your brain grabs that social media like it is king. You start looking at it like, what the hell? They don't even like each other. Why is she posting that? Originally I said limit social media, but I don't even want you to limit it. I want you off. Probably Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Highlight reels are not required for your healing. Sorry. Log out and step away. Choose grounding. A grounding anchor. Choose a grounding anchor. Candles. A warm, fluffy blanket. Photos. An object. Something that says, I'm here. Something that says, I'm here. I found these. I have had them for a while, and I just think it absolutely helps me. But I wrote my kids' names on here and what I was praying and wishing for them, right? And so I took a silver pen and I wrote their names on here. And right while I'd be sitting at my desk, I would just pick up the one that has their name on it, and I would just hold it, and I wrote their names on them, and I would just think of them. It's something tangible that we can do, right? My prayers for my children. My prayers for my children. It's just some rocks. It was just for me. What I want. This one was for Tony. What I wanted for my husband. Things that I was praying on for my husband. Hold something tangible. Something of theirs. Something that makes sense to you. Something that it gives you the energy you need. It's a grounding anchor. Acknowledge your person. Think of your person. Do something that reminds you of your person. The energy of your person. Say their name. Think a thought of them. Love does not disappear just because they're gone. It does not. It does not. Number 9, lower the bar. Lower the bar on the whole day. Maybe you only need half the day. Maybe your thought is, I'm going to make it through this gracefully. Maybe your thought is, making it through the day is enough for me. Maybe you get in your car and you drive away. You go on a drive. Survival is enough. You got to survive the day, and you can do this. It doesn't have to be painful. And 10, most importantly, do not grieve alone if you don't have to or if you don't want to. Do not grieve alone. If you don't want to grieve alone, then don't. Grief is heavier in isolation. Maybe this day you're choosing, I'm going to isolate, but maybe you want to do it with other people. Whatever you decide you want to do, let it be that. Support matters. Valentine's Day does not require a celebration. It requires care, and it requires self-love. You loved your person, you loved you together, but you also love yourself. And if you keep wondering why days like this are wrecking you, it's not failure. It's because you're not prepared. This is your grief asking for understanding. It's asking you to understand and plan for the day. You're not broken. You are grieving. You love somebody really important, and that person mattered to you, and they are no longer here. And that, my friend, is huge. The fact that your friend is no longer here is huge. And I'm so sorry you're having to go through this right now. But going through this is doable if we think about it ahead of time. If we plan it out ahead of time, it is absolutely doable. All right, my friends. I love you. I want you to think about the grief assessment. I want to also remind you that on Thursday is the next Grief 101, Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Right here, I'm going to be teaching a lesson on Grief 101. I love each and every one of you. I see you. Thank you, Miss Mary, for being here. And I will see you in the next live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Bye, my friends.